This is Dr. Michelle Loria, the System CMIO, here to talk with you about the basics of writing a PowerNote. We're going to talk about the outlines of a process, which starts with documenting histories, choosing the correct note type, and then picking a template. You have three choices: pre-completed notes, and choosing those of your partners who you think might have some good ones, generic templates that you can then use to construct your own, and EMHS custom templates. We're going to talk about selecting auto-populate items, and then the specifics of writing the note, the utility of auto text macros, and using the function F3 key to tab through documentation fields. When I see a patient, I explain to them that I need to understand everything about their history before I get to my recommendations, and therefore we're going to talk about the boring stuff first, because when we get to the exciting items, we're going to forget the boring items. I usually start with allergies. If I'm lucky, there's a great allergy list there. Otherwise, I may have to modify it and add items. If I don't have to do anything, I'll just mark it as reviewed. After I do allergies, I go to the medication list, and I typically have to add medications to document them by history. Here are the active medications for the patient. And then I go into their histories. For procedure, again, if I'm lucky, everything is listed here. Here I can see the patient had a cesarean section in 2016, and I can tell that I previously documented it on this, saying that it was a stat C-section secondary to cord prolapse at 32 weeks. I can mark that as reviewed. For family history, I've done a lot of work creating a quick list for myself about the family history items that I typically select, want to know about, and then I have all of the family members that I want to know about. You can also add groups to the family history and search for different items. Again, if I don't have to add anything, it's a quick matter of just marking as review, and the same thing for social history. Sometimes I'll modify the social history or add to it. I do a lot of substance abuse counseling in pregnancy, so those are important items for me. Next, I like to go to the problems and diagnoses. And you can see that the top pane here is diagnoses and the bottom pane is problems. Here I've set it to display active and inactive problems, and that's because I want to know about the patient's entire family history. You can see that I previously added comments here about another preterm delivery. And then I can take problems and add them to diagnoses for the current visit. This is great because then the coders know what I discussed in my note. If I don't have to touch anything, I can click mark as reviewed, but typically I'm adding to the problem list and then converting them to diagnoses, and sometimes adding comments. Next, I'm going to go to the PowerNote window, and the first thing I'll do is I will select a note type. I have a personal list of note types because my practice covers a fairly wide swath. I'm going to choose the obstetrics and gynecology consult. And what I have here are the list of pre-completed notes. I could also look at encounter pathways, which will show me every single note template that's been created in the system. Some of these are model system note templates. Anything with a star 2G is a model system note template. I can look at existing templates that have been used in the current encounter. Again, we talked about pre-completed. I've got my list to only display my pre-completed notes, but I could search and look at all of the pre-completed notes in the system. There's quite a few here. I can also look at my favorite pre-completed notes. The free text note is a great blank template if you just want to document something quick. Let's say I can't remember what I did last week, but I think it was pretty recent. I can look at also at all the different note templates that I used recently. Again, we said we're going to choose the MFM new consult, and I'm going to, this is the auto-populate window, and it allows me to choose different items. I am going to choose very little from here. I'm going to include the chief complaint. I've got vitals included and lab results. You can also see from the bottom that I've got the procedure history, psychosocial history, and the family history. I'm going to click OK, and that's going to start my pre-completed note. I start all my consults with the same sentence. Notice these underscores. If I click function F3, it will tab me to each of these fields so I can quickly fill them in. My problem list is automatically put in here. I used a smart template to create this. And so I can add to this, which is really going to be their medical history. You can see that the procedure history is pulling in along with the comments that I entered on today's encounter, the family history, and the social history. I added allergies and home medications as smart templates because it has a cleaner display. When I go to document my review of system, there's a couple different things I can do. This is actually a macro that I chose to include in this template. I can quickly go into it and edit it in case this isn't what the patient reported. And here's another macro. I could also document my entire review of systems using free text or insert here an auto text. Here you see my list of auto texts. You can see that I have an obstetrical review of systems. I can double click it and quickly add it. And this is something that I've previously written. I can use the same methodology for the physical exam. I can show the structure and document the items that I want. I can also add items using auto text, and I can also add items to this template in the body of the template. And here you can see I put in under the physical exam fetal heart rate. And again, I can quickly document by using function F3 to document these components, or if I didn't do a fetal heart rate tracing that day, I can quickly just delete that from my note. It saves me a lot of time to actually have it there and then delete it. I like to do problem-oriented charting, so typically I put my problem list as a smart template at the end of my note, and then I can put my counseling in after it. Since the majority of the work that I do is time-based counseling, I have my time statement in the bottom here. I also have it saved as an auto text so I can add it to different templates. When I'm done with my note, I click Sign and Submit, and then I distribute it. Please refer to that separate video.